Hey, church fam. In the Gospel of Matthew, we are given a story about Jesus getting on board a ship. His disciples followed him, and a great storm arose on the sea, so the boat was covered with the waves. And Jesus went to sleep. And of course, then his disciples came to him, woke him, and cried, "Lord, save us, we are perishing." Jesus responded, "Why are you fearful, O you of little faith?" Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled, saying, "Who can this be, that even the winds and the sea obey him?" Panting and holding on to the swaying boat, their stomachs still churning and their hearts still racing, as the waves took their last waning laps against the sides of their heavy, heaving vessel, Jesus asked his disciples, "Why are you so fearful?" Consider for a moment that this question was not asked because Jesus needed to know the answer. Rather, the teacher asked because he wanted his disciples to examine the reason for their own fear. It would be pure foolishness for fishermen not to be afraid of severe weather. But Jesus did not ask them what made them afraid. Similarly, he doesn't ask us what we fear, but why do we fear? When the Son of God asks us to consider our fear, what we are to do at that point is to consider why we are afraid. It's a natural human reaction to focus on what makes us afraid. But Jesus wants us to consider why we are afraid. Do you see the difference? In an honest Christian, this question should sober him or her and to begin to initiate self examination. This self examining process is an essential part of our Christian faith and is critical to what follows in our progression toward perfection. Self examination is like a meeting of the minds, just you and your Creator looking at why. It cannot be bypassed, done in haste or hurry, nor can it be accomplished in formulaic steps or procedures. And the process of self examination is lacking in nearly every life, and certainly is non existent in most conventional congregational worship. Our churches are noisy, our homes are noisy, our lives are noisy, and there's essentially no time at all set aside just to consider in quietness our own lives before our God. We must all take the time quiet time, to consider our own fears and reasons why we are afraid. If you may feel that your fears are out of your control, you should remember that the fear you feel is always in inverse proportion to the faith you have in Jesus Christ. And your faith is in your control. Many times within the course of my personal studies, the questions of Jesus called me to quietness and reflection. It was only then that the understanding would come forth. Jesus' questions will call you to quietness and reflection as well. After your reading, don't hesitate to sit silently for a while. Take the time to think about nothing in particular. Instead, consider the formulation of your own thoughts and fears. You'll find that the heart of your fear and my fear will be our lack in faith in God. In the religious world, fear takes many different forms, but lack of faith is the basis, I believe, for all of them. Why are you so fearful? Do you feel that you should not tamper with your already established religious faith? Can you track down and name the fear that you feel? Is it simply a fear of change, or perhaps a fear of opening yourself to deception? You will undoubtedly hear and see new ideas form as you begin to answer these questions of Jesus in the Bible. Sometimes these thoughts will contradict what you understand today as conventional Christianity. You'll want to investigate them, even if they take you in directions opposed to convention. Within your heart, you might feel a fear come about when you're told something different from what you or your parents, your grandparents, your church, your family, your friends may believe. You may find new concepts beyond your present understanding, which you're going to want to begin to study and know for yourself. Do you consider everything outside your present mindset to be quote unquote evil? Jesus responds to such fears and asks, "Why do you think of evil in your hearts?" So spend time searching your hearts and praying to God to increase your faith so that fear may not become a part of your life. Love you, miss you guys. Have a great rest of your week.